Our next speaker is Sachi Patil, presenting their talk, Catalytic Girlhood. They're from Pune, India, and Berlin, Germany, and are pursuing a master's in science and environment and sustainability with a specialization in sustainable systems. Sachi has lived in 5 different countries, but Michigan is without a doubt the squirrel capital of the world. I respect that because this was the first place that I saw black squirrels. I had never seen black squirrels before. I was like, okay, all right. An important component to Sachi's talk tonight is Girls Gearing Up, a nonprofit that was founded in 2015 that is based in Berlin. They believe in empowering girls to change the world. Since its founding, GGU has worked with girls all over the world aged 13 to 18 in developing leadership skills and mentoring. Recently, they have partnered with the Aubrey Foundation to expand their outreach to have year-round events and collaborate with a variety of companies and individuals. Please welcome Sachi.
2015. It was truly a pivotal year for me. I was 12, going on 13, and like any teenager, had no idea what the future could hold. At the time, I was more concerned with how to handle these changes that I was going through, how to handle being a teenager. I was nervous, of course. I was afraid of being judged by my peers. But worst of all, I was afraid of what would lay on the other side of my girlhood. Luckily for me, I met an inspirational group of girls and women who would ultimately teach me to take my restless dissatisfaction and use it as building blocks for the future. But before I continue on that, did you know that out of the 193 United Nations member states, only 29 have female heads of state or government? This is a statistic that many young girls internalize. The barriers that contribute to it and the opinions of close friends, family, acquaintances, and just the general people around them all contribute to this further, telling girls that there are places in which women and these girls do not belong, creating an implicit and explicit bias. When I think about it, it sounds awfully bleak. But how can these negative emotions that often manifest as helplessness and anger and fear be rearranged as a force for good? And how can they catalyze change? To start tackling this, let's do a quick activity. Please close your eyes and think, who do you want to be? And what kind of a future do you need to be this person? Please open your eyes again, but keep these thoughts in mind because we'll come back to them later. For now, 2015 once again. I was about to attend my very first Girls Gearing Up International Leadership Academy. This was going to be 7 tiring yet fulfilling days, full of girls, of course, women that would come from all walks of life, everything from entrepreneurs to authors to journalists, who would come and teach us about their experiences, who we could then interview. Next to this, I was also able to join various workshops centered around problem solving, around leadership skills, around communications, the SDGs. But like I said, the very first thing I mentioned was the girls. And at the end of this first academy, I was starstruck. I mean, I met so many girls, many of which were from places that I'd heard of or been to, and many of which were completely unfamiliar to me. And that was great. I learned so much from them. Because it was through these girls that I realized that not only did I have a voice and that it mattered, but that it was also amplified in the presence of others. And of course, this was a sure sign to 12-year-old me that I must naturally go to every single subsequent academy that I could for the next 5 years. And I did. So as time went on, I saw my confidence in my ability to create change increase. I was honing my public speaking. I was learning about more and more women and girls. After all, sometimes the saying, "you have to see it to be it," really does hold true. And at this point, I had my girls, I had my ideas, and I had those skills that I mentioned, the speaking, the leadership, and I also knew what it was that I wanted to pursue, and I was gearing up to go after it. I'd like to share one of the workshop exercises that stuck with me the most with you. Imagine your personal space as a bubble around you, and this can be any color you want, your favorite color maybe. When you want to increase your personal bubble, to, for example, address a larger audience and feel more comfortable around them, then you can increase this. You can make it as big as you want to be. On the other hand, if you want to be a little more reclusive and stick to yourself, because of course we all have our moments, right? You can make this bubble smaller so that it fits you and only you. Reflecting on this activity, I realized not only the importance of being comfortable with having others in your bubble, but also the importance of taking the discomfort that you feel from it and learning from it. After all, the restless dissatisfaction, once more, is just a building block for our future, right? Those ideal futures that you thought about. Since then, Girls Gearing Up, which, along with this bubble activity, has grown with me, has expanded from beyond its initial start in Germany to also including hubs in India and Malawi. So far, we've reached more than 500 girls through just the Leadership Academy alone, and now that I'm no longer an Academy participant, I've moved on to facilitating and volunteering for them on a regular basis. To give you some statistics, the agreement for the statement, "I have the skills to be a good leader," which really tackles the fundamental of what the Academy is meant to bring out of the girls, has increased from 67% pre-Academy to 97% post-Academy. Of course, as time goes on, I see more and more cohorts of girls, some of which were born as early as 2012 nowadays, which is of course extremely scary to me sometimes. But I see visions of how me and some of my friends were back in the day in them. For example, last year I was co-facilitating at the Berlin Academy, and I saw one of the sweetest moments. Two of the girls were stood in the hallway, way past lights out. I was doing the patrols, and they were hugging each other, refusing to let go. They were going to each other, "I love you so much. I'm so happy I met you. I've learned so much from you, and I can't wait to see you again next year." How beautiful is that? I've seen so many of these girls, both in my cohort and beyond, learn to take their own restless dissatisfactions, their negative emotions, and combine it with those chosen families that they've created through these communities of girlhood, and turn it, slowly but surely, into their own ideal person as part of their ideal futures. And now, I want you to think back to the very first question I asked you. Who is your ideal person for yourself? And what kind of a future do you need for it? Please close your eyes one more time and think. What negative emotions can you harness for this transition? And how can your community support you? Please open your eyes again. Of course, these communities are incredibly important to us, right? The communities of girls that I met during my time at Girls Gearing Up not only allowed me to take my own restless dissatisfaction and turn it into something else, But their own restless dissatisfactions have also stayed with me. Their own negative emotions, their fears and concerns around things like sexuality, mental health issues, family issues. Growing up is scary. And these fears and their experiences with it that they've been so open and vulnerable to have shared with me have stayed with me, and they've allowed me to learn from them. With this in mind, girls are told all over the world that they must be mature, they must be proper, and they must be respectable at all times. And if that is who the girls want to be, then let them. Otherwise, let them be whoever it is that they do want to be. After all, they deserve our support into growing into a member of their own ideal futures. Many people care about gender inequalities, sexism, social issues, but caring without action is never enough. And that's why I'm calling on all of you to donate to organizations and nonprofits that tackle issues like supporting girls through their girlhood. And I don't necessarily mean financial donations, although don't get me wrong, those do help tremendously. I also mean donating your time, your ideas, mentorship, outreach opportunities. Every little thing helps because it only works when we come together. At the end of the day, restless dissatisfaction is but a building block for the future that we want to see. It is our motivator and our catalyst, our call to action. So change does not occur unless others step in. And hey, we have a saying at Girls Gearing Up. Behind every great woman is a hand pulling a sister up. It is important that whether you're a woman or not, you still do help pull a sister up. I want everyone in this room, online, and even beyond to keep this in consideration. And hey, if you want to do this, by sending a girl to one of our leadership academies, if you want to get involved in any way, feel free to scan the QR code or come talk to me. I'd be really happy to hear from you. Like I said, change does not occur without inaction. Keep in mind that the restless motivation, the restless dissatisfaction, and the negative emotions you feel are parts of your person and your ideal futures. What matters is how you can take them and rearrange them. And with that, thank you.